So even if you have a valid offer, an agreement, and valid consideration, and it seems like it's a valid contract, if one or both of the parties lack the mens rea, then the contract can be held voidable by the party who lacks the consent. So the types of consent, one is misrepresentation. This is when there's a factually wrong statement during the formation of the contract. And there's two types, there's innocent and fraudulent. Here is the test. So there needs to be a false statement that was either innocent but material or fraudulent, and that the reliance was reasonable. Remember, that means that it's the jury who's going to decide what's reasonable. Puffery is never a fact. When I say my lumbar system in my car is the most comfortable in the world, that's puffery. That's an opinion. There's no way to prove that. So that's never a false statement. Silence can be a false statement in this test. So if I have someone who is buying my car used, they have a bad back and they're relying on the lumbar system, and I know it only works some of the time, I'm going to have to disclose that. My silence will be a false statement of fact because I know that they're requiring that information. All right. If it is a fraudulent misrepresentation, they intended to defraud you, here's your definition. If it is an innocent misrepresentation, the speaker honestly believed what she said was true, then it must also be material to the contract, substantial to the contract. So again, someone's trying to buy my car, and what they want is a car, but they're very concerned about the lumbar system. I do have to disclose if my lumbar system only works sporadically. If I don't disclose that, that silence is fraudulent. But let's pretend that my DVD player only works sporadically. I don't have to disclose that because it's not material to the car. What do you want a car for? You want it to get from A to B, not to play DVDs, certainly not today. And here's some more unreasonableness. And our second cause of action is mistake. This is the second consent cause of action, and here is the definition of that. The interesting thing about mistake is it's very narrow. Only use it if there's a typo or a mathematical error. Don't use it in any other cases. The mistake can be bilateral, both parties were under the same mistake, or it can be unilateral, only one party. So I am purchasing a house and they've done the calculation wrong, they've done the math wrong. If we are both negotiating under that false premise, that's a bilateral test. But if they've corrected it since they sent it to me, so they sent me the incorrect spreadsheet but then later corrected it and forgot to send me the corrected one, then that's a unilateral mistake. I'm working under the false numbers, but they've got the right ones. The third cause of action is duress, and I've made the words that are really important here bold. And under duress, one party makes an improper threat with no reasonable alternative. So let me give you a couple of examples. I tell my daughter, if you do not clean the bathroom, I will not take you to shopping on Saturday. Is that a threat? Absolutely. Is it improper? No. Dirty bathrooms are filthy and breed disease. So this is not duress. Does she have reasonable alternatives? Sure. She doesn't have to go shopping on Saturday. She can continue to live in her disgusting, diseased bathroom. Another example, if I say, I'm a business owner and I say to someone, to my rice supplier, you need to supply me the same quantity and quality of rice for $3 a week less, or I'm going to go to Yelp and tell everyone that you're the worst rice supplier in the world. That is an improper threat. I don't have cause. My rice supplier has some alternatives. It's up to you to decide if they're reasonable. She can also go on Yelp and complain about me. She can refuse to provide me with rice anymore, or refuse to provide it at $3 less. Are those reasonable alternatives? Depends on the circumstances. Economic distress is a subset of stress with its own test, as you see. So in economic distress, this is specifically in a business setting when there's no legitimate business purpose. So we go back to my rice case. This is a business duress situation, but is there a legitimate business purpose? For me, yeah. If I can buy my rice cheaper, I can sell my product cheaper. So that's a legitimate business purpose for wanting to buy the same thing for less money. And the final cause of action we're studying today is undue influence. And here is the definition and the test. Here you have to establish this relationship, and you have to establish that the persuasion caused by that was improper. Ooh, sorry about that. So for an example of that, Summer Redstone, he's 94 years old and he owns Viacom, and he is slowly becoming more and more dependent on his daughter, who is 63. She fires the CFO of Viacom, and the CFO sues for undue influence. He says that the daughter now is dominating her 94-year-old father and improperly persuading him to fire, who is an excellent CFO, for her own purposes. That would be an issue of undue influence. And that's it for consent. Thanks for listening.